For the past few days, it has become painfully clear that there is no way for America to avoid this epidemic, an epidemic like what we're seeing in China right now. A bioweapon with plausible deniability that was perfectly deployed from the get-go, and people had no idea before it was too late. It's like the movie Resident Evil out there. You've been preparing, ladies and gentlemen. And now you're in for it. We're all in for it. We're in for the tidal wave that's coming our way. And there's nothing anyone can do. The clock is ticking. Ladies and gentlemen, new footage, new numbers from the quarantine zone. Highly disturbing. We're also going to link all of the videos that prove this sudden death syndrome, this drop dead syndrome. Ladies and gentlemen, a very disturbing aspect of this virus. And of course, this virus is going to burn through countries like a wildfire. Nobody is inoculated. Nobody has any type of cross resistance to this virus. Everyone will be affected sooner than you might think. It's already beginning to rampage in the big cities like San Francisco. And of course, the numbers haven't changed in the last 3 days so that they can keep propping up their stock market. And it's so strange to watch the television. Even the State of the Union address, it was like, this virus isn't here. But obviously they're covering up the numbers to protect the stock market. They haven't given you any concrete updates because they know the worst is yet to come. They want people to enjoy the last few days of normalcy while you still can. And of course, we've gotten more confirmation about the crematoriums, the body bags, and the like. The video on the left, very disturbing. A woman just keeled over right there in the vegetable section. And it's just beyond imagination. I'm sure you want to hear what the numbers are. What do we have for you today, ladies and gentlemen? And it's worse than you can possibly imagine. Again, here's the video from the crematorium. Industrial ovens. The Nazis use Zyklon B. The Chinese are using Zyklon C for coronavirus, it looks like, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, the video guy. We'll get into that. We'll get into the drop dead virus, and we're going to get into the numbers as was released here. 154,000 confirmed cases. 24,500 deaths were reported. This seems more in line with the videos and the body bags and the reports that we're getting. 25,000 dead right now, not 500. 150,000 cases, and the worst part about this is that right now they're only counting the cases that are in their hospitals, that have gone through their hospitals. They've sent so many people home, so many people off the grid, that these numbers are still yet to give us a complete picture of what's happening on the ground. And of course, the death rate here is much higher than what they've been saying, and the number of deaths being reported even at this 25,000 figure, which was released on the 1st, according to Taiwan News, this figure still lags at least 7 days, because it takes new cases 7 days, 15 days to die. So the numbers could be twice as high. There could be 50,000 people already condemned, and the entire city of the epicenter looks like a ghost town. Here's some latest drone footage. It's like out of this world, and things are beginning to break down. I mean, we're seeing a lot of videos of people fighting over trivial things, and it's starting to break down. Luckily, they do have a very disciplined military kind of regime out there that can maintain some sort of order. You can imagine if when this hits America, that things are going to break down completely, and it's going to be Mad Max in the big cities. And so people better start preparing. Get your ammo, get your supplies, because you don't want to be there in the rush. And that's what's coming. They're going to announce 5-10 cases in a big city, and everybody's going to freak out. and secondary spreading, and everybody's going to go to the grocery store at the same time and the like, and it's just going to be a nightmare because this thing is a 3-week head start, and it's probably closer to your town than you might think, because right now it's just kind of getting lost in the noise of the flu season, and there ain't enough cases surfacing for them to really notice. But they're moving, as far as we can tell, the latest reports, they're moving to prepare to put point of service tests out there, point of care tests, we should say. And so it looks like they're starting to prepare. But for the time being, flights from China are still flying into countries like the UK. And, it's just like, what are they thinking? It's like they've, invited disaster. And there's a lot of blame. There's plenty of blame to go around. I mean, the first month, it seems like they sat on, this case. And when it, when it became, when they weren't able to hide it anymore, that's when they came clean. Kind of like during Chernobyl. I mean, this is like another Chernobyl event. And, it's coming for everybody out there, ladies and gentlemen. And the death rate right now is looking at near 20%, like SARS. 1 in 5 people, not 1 in 10. So, if you're sitting around with 5 people right now, one of them has got to go, ladies and gentlemen. According to the New World Order, according to these Georgia Guidestones, people have been suspicious for years, especially since 9/11. They've seen the Georgia Guidestones. They've been talking about the vaccines, the fluoride, the chemtrails, and the like. But she didn't do anything. And so you've given these people even more confidence, more room to maneuver through your complacency, through our complacency, ladies and gentlemen. And this is really just the beginning of the end. Endless videos of, people dropping dead. We're looking for, some of our new videos. The video guy out there is on vacation, but we've got new videos from new places, and, we're not anywhere near the climax of this epidemic, and it's only accelerating. You saw the official numbers jump from 20 to 25,000. Just wait, now it's going to start going exponential, and soon we'll be at 100,000, 200,000. What's the difference? 500,000. Nobody cares, right? Because it's going to be on our shores, and nobody's going to be thinking about China anymore once the cases start outbreaking here, and they will, because they were shooting off like flaming arrows, of planes, full of cases our way for a week, 10 days at least, if not more. So we're going to be describing, this phenomenon as a flaming arrow. Even a plane with just one person on, a trans-Pacific flight, that's going to infect pretty much everybody on the plane. And they're just going to be starting their incubation, and then 2 or 3 days later comes the bioweapon. And, this has been allowed to replicate at least 2 or 3 cycles before anybody was aware, probably. And now we're looking at, another 2 or 3 weeks before this starts breaking out in every city. And just to kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about, yeah, we should probably go to the drop dead syndrome here. But the video guy is not cooperating. Again, the big numbers here that were accidentally released in China by a huge corporation. This is being reported by Taiwan News. You can look at this for yourself. 154,000 confirmed cases, 25,000 deaths. This was of February 1st. And the death numbers are always lagging the case numbers by a week due to the incubation period and the time it actually, takes for this to actually happen, ladies and gentlemen. So, one second. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're live. If you're just joining us, bombshell numbers, 154,000 confirmed cases, 25,000 casualties right now. And we're going to get into the real disturbing video from yesterday, and you can see it for yourself. This is the drop dead syndrome. And people were thinking, So people were thinking that maybe this guy's just having a seizure. That's part of the syndrome, for sure. I mean, he's seizing up right there. It looks like some kind of shock. But this isn't the only video from the epidemic like this that we've seen. We've got a couple others to show you. But all of a sudden, I mean, this guy's just doing his job. He's feeling okay, and just like that, he's done. And it's not the only one. We got tons of videos of people basically, you know, keeling over, and that's the end of it. Here's another video that you've probably seen. This was widely publicized. And so here we've got 2 cases, and we're going to show you a third one just to kind of like make it clear. And watch this guy. Pay attention to this guy here. After he hits the ground, he starts convulsing. And you can kind of see it. I mean, it's not zoomed in. It's kind of grainy, but you can see it. And the thing is with most of these videos where you're seeing bodies on the ground, I mean, this is after, you know, this moment. And this is basically part of the syndrome. This is what they do. This is what this virus does, we should say. And that's something that's not being talked about on the television, and for good reason, because I mean, if if they were telling you this, that this is coming to your neighborhood, you know, people would freak out, right? So, you know, watching the TV right now is like being in another world, because I mean, these people are just not, you know, with the program. And even the State of the Union, it was like, you know, it was all about the economy and nothing about the eugenics programs. And it's like, you know, what are you on? I mean, what channel are you on? You know? There's like this, you know, end of the world epidemic about to hit, and we're talking about like how wonderful the economy is. And it's like, okay, well, that's nice, you know, but everybody right now on CNBC and the like are saying like, you know, the economy's going to take a huge hit. And before they recover from this, you know, that's going to be something else, ladies and gentlemen. We're broadcasting live, hacking this beast system on the screw tube out there. Check us out on our website, stfnreport.com, for updates, regular updates. We've got all sorts of news stories showing up there, mostly on this Wuhan super virus. And it's not the only virus that we've been tracking. There's another virus in town, and we're not talking about the flu virus. We're talking about the DEV virus that is infecting people as well. And we're going to get into that coming up, as well as some of the other information that you need to know about. But the DEV virus is no joke. Find out more about that in our video archives. Be sure to check out our video archives and the like. Now, of course, the television is just basically showing you, you know, nice empty beds and new hospitals and the like. They're not showing you what's really going on. This is what happens when you get the Wuhan super virus. Pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. You see that? That's sudden death syndrome. And at the height of the epidemic, you know, for 10 days, airplanes were coming in, you know, every day from that city. And they were going to major cities like San Francisco, otherwise known as Sodom and Gomorrah. And right now it looks like Sodom and Gomorrah is going to burn. Ladies and gentlemen, let our people go. Christians need a homeland for themselves. We need a Christian state in America. The Jews have a homeland. Why can't we have a homeland? Well, guess what? Reinforcements have arrived, and Sodom and Gomorrah is about to burn. So, surprise, bitches. Getting back to the latest figures, 154,000 confirmed cases, 25,000 dead. That was posted February 1st by Tencent, a huge Chinese company out there. It made the news. And of course, this is more in line with what we're seeing. And of course, the death rate here is around 16%. So, you know, this is going to be much worse than you can possibly imagine. And you can tell that this is a bioweapon. I mean, this guy is like in a secured location, and it got him, you know, and it's getting medical workers with all their gear and the like. It's going to spread like the flu. And scientists are saying it's like airborne AIDS. It's got 4 HIV insertions, probably inserted at the weapons lab, in Wuhan, but nobody knows for sure where this super virus came from. But as people are pretending like nothing is going on, ladies and gentlemen, a tidal wave is preparing to hit our shores, and people need to prepare now, because as soon as they start announcing what's going on, it's going to be too late. I mean, everything's going to be gone. It's going to be like Black Friday. And if the virus is spreading there, you're just going to be in a huge kind of like super spreading event. And that's just, that's why you want to prepare now. I want everybody to imagine, sitting in an airport, a major airport like O'Hare, looking at the departures and the arrivals, all the big cities there. Wuhan is like a city of 11 million people, twice the size of Chicago, twice the airport. And this airport was sending plane loads of virus, to every major city in the world for 10 days before anybody caught on. And undoubtedly has seeded just about every major city in the world, and all of it's going to bloom at around the same time in about 2 to 3 weeks from now. Most scientists would say 4 or 5 weeks from the initial seeds is when you're going to start seeing epidemics.
I think we're going to start to see secondary spread in the United States in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
And then what?
And then it's going to be a difficult month. I think people are going to start to shut down, certain activity to try to curtail the spread of this. I think we're going to start to see secondary spread in the United States in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
And then what?
And then it's going to be a difficult month.
And then what? It's going to be a difficult month. You don't say how difficult. Well, you want to see the future? You're looking at it right now. Pay attention to the videos coming in from China. They're 3 weeks ahead of us, more or less, 4 or 5 weeks ahead of us. And it went from just a couple cases to the whole country being shut down in less than 2 months. And we're well on our way. The first seeds have arrived, and, they've been able to replicate at least 2 or 3 series by now. And so, we talked about the numbers. You can do the math. If you do 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, that each 2 is a cycle. And before the numbers, pump up enough, ramp up to where people are going to notice, it's going to be, 7 or 8 weeks. That movie 28 Weeks Later, there's a reason why it's 28 weeks later and not 28 hours later. So people right now are basically experiencing the calm before the storm. But, this should be on the front and center of everybody's mind, especially when you see videos like this. And it's not an isolated video. So there you go. I mean, that's the drop dead syndrome. And we're seeing multiple videos of this, ladies and gentlemen. So there, it's not just your imagination. It's not just epilepsy. We've got at least 3 different videos where you see people just collapse and start going into seizures. They were just fine, and all of a sudden, boom, sudden death. And that's why they shut this country down, that's why they shut China down, like the virus escaped the lab, because this looks like a bioweapon. This has all of the characteristics that you would want. Short incubation, short period of time to ramp up, and it's got longevity. It's got, nobody inoculated. So there's a reason why they pick coronavirus. Nobody has immunity to this for the most part. And we could have a detailed conversation about, the symptom spread or spectrum and the like. Some people, are going to do better than others. But I would learn everything you can, as far as what's going on with this virus. And if you're at risk, especially if you're over 60, you got pre-existing conditions and the like. But we're now getting cases of very young people as well. So don't think that all of the initial reports that you heard in the news are what's actually happening right now, because during an epidemic things can change rather quickly. It's like war, and essentially it is kind of like a bio war, and the police can't help you, the fire department can't help you. For the most part, people are going to get infected, and it's a matter of exposure. You want to lower your exposure. Undoubtedly, this is just going to blow through like a tidal wave. and you are going to get some sort of exposure to it. The less the better. So you don't want to breathe in deeply in crowded places and the like. You're going to want to get your mask now while supplies still last. You're going to want to prepare. This isn't a joke, because as soon as they announce, they make the first announcements, 5 new cases, secondary spreading has begun in San Francisco, boom, everything's going to go wild. So you want to, this is your opportunity to act. Drop what you're doing right now. Go to the store, go to the ammo store, go to the liquor store, go to Walmart. Go get your supplies out there, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, the big cities are going to get the worst of it. Sodom and Gomorrah is going to get the worst of it, and they're way overdue. Most people were thinking it was an earthquake, but it'll be an earthquake, but no, it's a super virus, and it's going to wipe out a lot of people. If it's like up to 20%, we're talking, tens of millions of people here. So this is going to be epic, like never seen before. It's going to destroy the economy as we know it. It's going to, basically topple this new world order. And what's going to, basically rise out of the ashes? We are, because we're going to prepare and we're going to take this country back. These are our reinforcements, ladies and gentlemen. Ride out the storm and take this country back. Until the next time, if you're listening to this, you are the resistance.